Uttara sir. Uttara sir.
Yes, sir.
Can we start, ma'am?
Yeah.
Sir.
Okay, sir, we will start.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
An involvement in knowledge pay the pleasant outcomes always. Pleasant morning to one and all gathered here. On behalf of management of KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology, Chief Executive Sir, Principal Ma'am, Department of EEE, organizing team on my own behalf, I welcome our today's resource person, Dr. G. Janaki Ma'am, Professor SRM University, Chennai. Welcome you, ma'am. I am very much delightful to welcome all the participants for this FDP session. I am very much privileged to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. G. Janaki Ma'am. She received her master's degree in ME Power Electronics and Drives from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore, and she completed her Doctor of Philosophy in Faculty of Electrical Engineering from Anna University, Chennai. She started her career as a lecturer in the Department of EEE at Vellamal Institute of Vellamal College in the year 2001 to 2005. Later on, she joined as a lecturer and promoted as a senior lecturer in the Department of EEE at Sri Muthukumaran Institute of Technology in the year 2007. During her tenure, she has exhibited many responsibilities like R&D coordinator, NBA coordinator, department level NAC coordinator, etc. She has published 30 plus research articles in national and international journals and conferences. She published a book titled Power Electronics and Drives in collaboration with Ishwar Press, the Science and Technology book publisher, in the year 2006. She worked as a senior project officer IIT Madras, and she has held with several responsibilities in her tenure. Her field of interest and research area includes EMI and EMC, power converters and drives and control, innovative instructional teaching and learning process, penetrating of engineering technology due to an pedagogy, large classroom management, etc. So we have an immense joy to call upon our today's resource person, Dr. G. Janaki Ma'am, to enrich the knowledge towards the electric vehicle technology. Ma'am, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Okay, so let me share my PPT. Is the presentation is visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I make it in full screen? Okay. So, very good morning to one and all. Today's topic is on stability analysis of electric drives under different load conditions. The outcome of the session is, at the end of the session, you will be able to analyze your system and how the system is stable or not. And you need to identify the ways to ensure that whether the system is stable or not. If not, what the needs you need to do, how you can able to control your parameters, right? So that is the main agenda. So you need to analyze and identify the stability state of a system under different load condition. So this is the key objective of this particular session. Is it clear? So let's begin with a small activity. You please identify the picture and state the stability of each case. So I've given 3 different states, and please think for a while and tell me how the system will be for each and every case. There are 3 pictures here. three different states. You please mention what is this. You can give your answers in the chat box. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Yeah. Hope the question is clear. Just identify the stability state of these pictures, A, B, C, and give your answer. Thank you, Yogeshwar. A is fully stable, B is partially stable, C is unstable. Okay. Yogeshwar, can you unmute yourself and tell me how you have judged the system is stable or unstable or partially stable?
In the case of A, it is the center of gravity is at the middle and both sides are balanced. Hence, it is
Yes.
stable.
Yes.
As in the case of B, partially that is one half it is stable. The other is actually making it imbalanced.
Yes.
So even a slight disturbance may push it to unstable.
Very well said, sir.
Last one is completely unstable because entire weight is managed with a small surface area. So it is completely unstable.
Well said, sir. Very good, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your response. So as you rightly mentioned, it's mainly depend here. I think this is very basic in the physics level, the school level. This will be used, right? So based on the gravity and based on the weight, how it is balanced, the system, we can justify whether the system is stable or unstable if there is an external force acting on it, right? So that's the key point over here. Here also, we are going to discuss about uh, your drive systems means you'll be having motor and your loads, and it involves some inertia, the mass, and with the speed variations or with any small disturbances, how the system stability gets collapsed to make them stable, what we need to do. So that we need to analyze, right? Thank you, Yogeshwar, for your input. And let's start with the definition of a stability. As we mentioned, a system is stable. When we call the system is stable, which means that the output is completely controlled. Or otherwise, for the given input, what is your expected output that you should get? Then only we can call that system is a stable system, right? So the actual definition is, literal definition is the ability of any system which provides bounded output when a bounded input is applied. So that's what we call it as BIBO stability, right? So when we talk about the stability of a system, there are different categories. So when we classify the system, we can call either we can call the system as steady state or in a transient state or in a dynamic state. So generally, if there is no, if an ideal case means we can call that as a steady state stability. If there is an abrupt change occurs or a large disturbance is occurring, then we will do the transient analysis. And dynamic analysis is whenever we run the system, definitely we'll get some more small disturbances. So even for the small disturbances, your functionality of the system should not affect. So for that reason, we need to analyze the dynamic analysis. So accordingly, we need to control our inputs so that the system will be stable. So we need to analyze in different cases. So let's see, depend based on the timings, I can try to cover all the types of stability. So again, let's have a small activity. Draw the response curve for all the three states identified from the activity one. So you mentioned that a stable system, partially stable and unstable, right? So if you like to draw your time response curve, how will you draw it? Please draw it in a piece of paper and take a snapshot and share it in the WhatsApp group. Sorry, in the chat box. Is the question is clear? For the three states, completely stable, partially stable, and unstable system, how the time response will be. If you're just draw it in a piece of paper and take a snapshot and attach it if you're using mobile phone. Okay. Okay, I will tell you. In the equilibrium state, if you the system is stable, if you see your time responses, so if there is any display occurs or any for this particular figure, if you see the characteristics curve, even the disturbance come, if slowly the disturbance or died out, then we call that system is a stable system. And even with the any sort of I'm sorry, even with any sort of disturbances, your system performance is not varying. So it's stable means then we call it as a neutral state or completely stable, we can say it, right? So if the disturbances occur, but the disturbance is not died out, it's keep on increasing means then only we can call that system as a completely unstable system, right? So if it is a linear system, then we can easily categorize or we can analyze in this way. If it is a complicated system and if your characteristic equation is not a quadratic equation, it's more than the higher order equations, solving by this methodology is somewhat tedious, right? So in that case, how will you analyze the stability of a system? So for that case, we need to go in for or apply the knowledge of your control system theory, right? So either we can go for route stability criterion, or otherwise we'll go for Bode plot or Nyquist plot. Okay, there are different techniques to you can apply to analyze the stability of a system. So we'll slowly look into it. So before we proceed, so if we apply the root stability criteria, then what you'll have to write your characteristic equation and you'll find the roots. And if all the roots are how it is lie on your S-plane. So based on that, you can judge whether your system is stable or unstable. So if you see all your roots or generally we'll say the system is stable when for your system will be stable means all the roots should lie on your left of your S-plane, right? If any roots lie on your right of S-plane, then we call it as a unstable system. So to some extent, if for sometimes you may have the poles and zeros or the roots lie on your imaginary line. So in that case, you need to analyze the system and judge whether the system is critically stable or marginally stable or it is unstable. So for that, you need to do some more steps and you can add some of the controllers like PI or PID controllers to make your system stable, right? So here, if you see the disturbances are damped out, right? If your system characteristics, the damping ratios are high, then automatically the disturbance is what is creating in your system will be automatically died out and make your system more stable. Whereas in the case of the roots lies on the right of a S-plane, the damping ratios are not uh, very high. So which means that disturbances which causes it's keep on increasing. So that definitely brings your system unstable. So we need to analyze whether your system is stable or not. So for that you need to do your mathematical modeling of your system and find out your transfer function and your feedback loops and everything and determine your characteristics equation and find out the roots for your characteristic equation and plot it in an S-plane and verify whether all your loads are lying on the left hand side, then we can say that the system is, we can come to a conclusion that the system is stable system or not, right? So this is when your system is somewhat complex, not a easier one, right? So in that case, you can judge. Any doubts so far? Any doubts? Shall I go ahead? Can anyone respond? Shall I move on? Any doubts? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. I think there is no doubts from the participants.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am. So before we start, we'll just look into, because we are going to analyze your stability of your motor and load system only. But before that, what is electric drive systems, that hopefully you all know. So just we'll be giving some input, right? So that input we are not directly giving to the motor, because we need to have a controlled output, right? So for getting that, we are not going in for generally open loop system. We will be adopting a closed loop system to get our desired output, right? So here, this is the small block diagram. So I'll be giving input, and the output will be, you need to drive your load, okay? And depending on the load characteristics, the motor has to change the speed, right? So for that, what you'll do generally, you'll do your speed. You'll be sensing it, okay? Then that input you'll be giving to the controller, and you will be giving your response reference value. Say suppose the motor has to always run at 1500 rpms, you will set that reference value here. So for to get the 1500 rpm, you know how much current you need to give it your motor excitation. Then only you will get your speed will be that much, right? So this controller will take care of the part. So if there is any disturbance in the speed, that will compare with the reference value, and accordingly it will give the signal to the process unit. So to control, here generally it will be a power converter. It could be of any power converter based on the type of motor what you're using. You need to choose your processing unit, right? Either whether your load is a single phase load or a three phase load. So based on that, you will go for a single phase inverter or a converter circuit. Again, depending on what type of supply you're going to use. So you'll be using different control strategies. Here, this control design, you can, here only the advancements comes, right? So there are, initially they used only PWM technique, and later on they are used different technique like space vector modulations, and now they are using sliding mode control for controlling your motor drive. So that is currently they are using in electric vehicles basically to have an adaptive control, because the road we have to analyze the road stability also, how the road is. There will be lots of bumps, and whenever your vehicle is you're driving your vehicle on the road, you'll be getting lot of disturbances. So how it has to be managed uh, in that particular road conditions. So accordingly, you'll be going in for artificial intelligent controllers, or otherwise some of the different methods, the pick controller, DSP controllers, and all you'll be using it, right? So this is the basic thing. So this will be controlling your input given to the motor. So accordingly, the motor to load what the energy is transferred will be balanced. Okay. So we need to design. So the design part, I'm not touching it here. I'm just giving a hint that, for example, if you want to increase your speed of your machine, right? So even the load is increasing, but you need to increase your speed, means then automatically your axial length between your motor and load, that should be you should have a minimum dia, right? So in that cases, how the tensile strength is varying. If the motor speed goes enormous, whether there will be a twist or something like that. So all these we need to analyze. So for that only, this stability analysis technique will be helpful for us to design a stable system. So that is the key point why we are analyzing all the stability things in your design part. So let's discuss about the dynamics of your electric drive. Hopefully you all know your dynamic of your electric drive. So you'll be having a motor and load. So what will happen is if whatever the input, okay, so as per law of conservation of energy, energy cannot be created and cannot be destroyed, right? So whatever the energy we are giving, that will be converted into some other form. So here also same thing. So the motor either could be move, given as a translational movement or otherwise a rotational movement. Here mostly it will be a rotational because we are connected through a shaft. So whatever the motor torque, that will be moved to your load. But the total load and motor torque, this whole system will be having some amount of weight, right? So we call it as a moment of inertia. So due to that moment of inertia also, you will be having some acceleration or some force. Okay, it could be an accelerative force or it could be a decelerative force, and that depends on the type of inputs what you're giving. So here we consider this T as a motor torque for the instantaneous value of the torque, and this TL is the instantaneous value of your load torque. And consider that motor and load are driven with the speed of your omega m, angular velocity of omega m. Okay, so what happens is when the motor drives your load, you will be having actually we can write it as T is equal to TL plus the change in the speed due to your omega m. So due to inertia, you will be having one force, right? So dj omega m by dt. Generally, the moment of inertia of a system is not going to change. Only the tendency of the speed is getting changed. So we can take this j as a constant part. We can take it outside and we can write it as j, the difference in the speed. Okay, d omega m by dt, and that will be equal to plus this also will change, right? Omega, if the speed is constant, dj by dt. So generally this dj by dt equal to 0 because there is no change in the inertia, right? Once we design, we are not going to alter the system mass and all. So we can consider this dj by dt equal to 0. So we can eliminate completely this part. So if you are completely eliminating this part, then the equation will become load torque is equal to, sorry, motor torque is equal to load torque plus j d omega m by dt. Okay, so let's see. So if you introduce a small disturbance in the system, the equation will become so like this. Okay, so change in the load torque and change in the inertia motor torque, and also we need to consider change in the speed, how it is added. So if you add everything, it should be equal to 0. So whatever the changes comes, it should balance, and this is the equilibrium state. That's why it is equated to 0, right? Where delta omega m is the small displacement in the speed, and delta TL is the small displacement in the load torque, and delta T is the small displacement in the motor torque. So as we mentioned here, so this will be equivalent to j d omega m by dt plus load torque minus motor torque is equal to 0. So you can equate it like this also. So in this case, if you are if you are applying this all change in the load torque and change in the motor torque, and finally if you derive the expression of your speed, you will be getting a constant speed. This is the initial speed. Del omega m naught is nothing but initial speed. So I'll be getting an exponential waveform. So that's what we have shown in the time response curve, right? If it is damping, if the ratio is it's high, so if the damping ratio is high, automatically the disturbance will be died out. If the damping ratio is less, so what will happen? It will be oscillate more. So automatically it will lead to instability. Okay, so that's what. So we need to maintain this this one. We need to consider the exponent part of your equation. Okay, the speed equation will be telling you how your system behavior is. So that's more important. So if you see the condition here, so the exponent part, if you consider, if the exponent part is greater than 0, which means that your oscillations will be, or damping ratio is very less, so which means that it will tend to oscillate more. So that will lead to the system unstable. Whereas here in the exponential term is less than 0, which means the damping ratio is high. So which means that your oscillations are died out, and the system will be stable, or it will come back to its original position or original value, right? So that's the idea. And if it is equal to 0, so it's intermittent, which means that we need more analysis, like the partially stable conditions. We need to, in which load conditions, or if the load current increases slightly high, it may tend to go to the unstable. So mostly in this criteria, either the pole or 0 will be lying on your imaginary part of your S-plane. So that if you analyze your system, if you take 2 or 3 case studies and you analyze, and you will get to know that when the roots are on these imaginary axis, you will be getting mostly this intermittent on marginally stable, or we will call it as critically stable conditions. We can derive, right? So this is the main condition for assuming or checking whether your system is stable or not. So the rate of change of load torque, your speed, should be greater than or equal to your motor torque. Okay, so that is the condition for your stability state. If your motor torque, the load torque change is greater compared to your motor torque, then we can state that the system is stable. So motor should not get more changes. Even if the load side, if any changes come, the motor controls and bring the system in a stable position. So that's the key point here. So before we going for to analyze actually the stability states, we need to know about the different loads, right? So because here the topic itself is to identify and different load conditions, right? So we need to know about the different types of loads. We can classify the loads in different ways. So here I've just given a category that it's based on the nature of load, which means that whether it's a resistive load or an inductive load or capacitive load also, the system characteristic equation will completely alter, and based on that also you need to do an analysis, right? So if you see the nature of load, it could be a resistive load or inductive load or capacitive load, and I have given some examples. If the diagram is visible, if picture is visible, anybody? Okay, so example of resistive loads we use in our household, right? Your heater, or otherwise incandescent lamp, even your toaster, your iron box are all example for your resistive load. And for an inductive load, there will be some transformers and your motors and all example for your inductive load. And for a capacitive load, you'll be having your charger, or even in your fan, you'll be having your condenser, right? So all sort will be a capacity load. So generally, we'll call that as a reactive loads, right? And you can call that in that way also, like resistive loads and reactive loads also you can call. Okay, so again, reactive load we can categorize under inductive and capacitive. And again, based on the load units, okay. So we'll call that load as whether it's a kVA. Mostly the transformers and all, you will rate it in kVA, right? And for motors and all, you will motors and all, you'll rate it in kilowatt hour, or you will be mentioning it in horsepower also to some extent. And for iron box and all, you can, here in load HP, I've given the industrial ironing and all. You can use your high values. So here that is swap. Motors generally horsepowers you will take, and for ironing and all, you'll use it, kilowatt range also you can use it, right? And for based on the phases, whether it could be a single phase, most of your household appliances or a single phase load only, and mostly three phase means your pumping system, motors and all will come under this three phase load category. And for the consumer side, again we can categorize into industrial loads as well as commercial and residential loads. So the industrial loads is mostly for a group drives and all. So you can consider that kind of thing. If it is a, there are different kinds of your load conditions, whether it's a continuous load or is an intermittent load, or whether you're keeping it as a star load. So based on the different types of drive systems, the characteristic equation will be different, and even the stability analysis also, you have to adopt which one will be quite easier for you to analyze, that you need to choose, right? For commercial, mostly the loads will be like your elevators or hoist or something like that. Your lifts and elevators will be major demand, which impacts whenever you design for the system, you need to analyze it, right? And for residential, as I mentioned, it's almost all home appliances like your TV, fridge, and everything. All sort of loads will come under your residential things. So this is a basic idea of a different load category. And again, whenever your load is coming into picture, you need to draw your time response curve. Whether you, if it is a motor, then we'll talk about the speed torque characteristics. If it is a resistive load, then we'll talk about your how your voltage and current, how the power curve will be, and you need to analyze. So generally you will do your power stability analysis, right? Your swing equations, with that you will classify if there is a change in input, whether the lamp glows or not, or how your heater performing, when it needs to switch off or circuit breaker. So all these analysis you will do. So when here, since it's a drive, so we are talking about the speed torque characteristics. We can classify it into or 4 types. One is constant low torque, and one is torque speed. Torque is directly proportional to speed, and another characteristic is torque is directly proportional to square of the speed, and torque is inversely proportional. So generally, constant low torque, if you see, even if the speed varies, the torque will not change. Torque is constant. Okay, so if that type of load, yeah, how you have to identify your operating point, how you have to choose your motor, so that you need to find out. Okay, similarly for torque is directly proportional, so this is a slope. So when you want to operate it, based on the operating point, you will choose. So this example is for generator type 2, this is for fan type, and this is for constant power type. Okay. So now we'll analyze the stability in this linear case, the torque speed characteristic, using the torque speed characteristics. For example, we'll assume this is the motor torque and this is the load torque. Okay, let's consider this point A is the operating point. Okay, which means that at this particular point, your load torque is equal to the motor torque. So this is the actual point for stability, equilibrium state, right? So under this condition, your system will be completely stable. For example, what we are analyzing in this case one is, we are introducing a small disturbance in your system, which means that you are disturbing your, either you're reducing your voltage or otherwise your current. So what will happen if you reduce your voltage by using your variac or something in your experimental setup, or otherwise if one more load is added in your service line, so automatically there will be some voltage fluctuation, right? So because of that, what will happen? The speed will slowly reduce. So consider if the speed, because of there is an alteration in the input supply, your speed is getting varied. Assume that here, so under voltage conditions, so there will be a dip in your speed. So under this condition, how your system behaves, that we need to analyze here. So at this condition, is because of the speed decreases, so the operating point from here A, it moves, right? So if it moves, what will happen? Your load torque is reduced, okay, because it is here, right? Before the load torque is here, now the load torque is reduced here. And if you see your motor torque characteristics, the motor torque is increases. So because of the small disturbance in your voltage fluctuation, the under voltage condition, the speed decreases. Because of that, your motor torque increase and the load torque decreases. So if your motor torque is greater than your load torque, you just just recall your exponent equation, criteria for stability. So what will happen? If the motor torque is more, automatically the system start accelerates, right? So if the torque is more, motor torque is more, it starts accelerating. When it starts accelerating, what will happen? The speed slowly goes up. So when the speed slowly goes up, when it comes to stable state, after due point of time, again it will retrieve your stability, right? So then we call that system as a stable system. Any doubt over here? Any doubt? Any doubts or any clarifications? Shall I go ahead? Okay. Shall I proceed? Can anyone respond? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dhamirajan sir. So let's consider the second case. So in the second case, what happens is, assume that instead of under voltage, suppose the over voltage is occurring in the system, and there is a sudden drop in the loads. Say, for example, in the night, suddenly if everyone was switched off their lights or something like that, so what will happen? So the load tends to increase. Voltage tends to increase for a while, right? So due to the increase in voltage, consider there is a disturbance in your system. So because of that, the speed gets increased. So if the speed increases, what will happen? Again, here the operating point is moves around. Here in this case, this is your load torque and this is your motor torque, right? So at this condition, if you see here, your motor torque decreases and your load torque gets increased. So if the load torque here it will increase, motor torque decreases means automatically what will happen? Motor torque decrease means the motor starts decelerate, right? So if it starts decelerate, the speed also it reduces. So the increase in speed will be pop up with that, and automatically the system will come to the stable state. So in both the cases, we can say that the system is stable. Okay. So this is how you need to analyze for a simple system, even if you know your task speed characteristics of the system. So that is the reason why whenever we design any circuit, we need to do some experimental studies, and we need to note down all the readings, and we need to plot the speed torque characteristics, and based on the speed torque characteristics and your required your torque characteristics, which is prescribed by your manufacturer, you match both under load conditions and your normal ideal characteristics. You match with that and analyze whether your system is stable or not, right? So this is how you need to do. So now a small activity, I'll give you different scenarios for different load conditions. The curves, you please identify and tell me which are the characteristics represents a stable system, which are the characteristics represents an unstable system, and which characteristics is not or a partially stable system. Okay, so that is your activity. Is it visible? So you take 5 minutes time and analyze the system. Now the time is almost 10:10. You can work till 10:13. If you're ready with your answers, please let me know so that I no need to wait till the final time. If you're ready with your answers, please give your response in the chat box. One more minute to finish your task. Is anybody ready with your answers? Hello, can anyone respond? Sindhu ma'am, can you give answer for the characteristic which is shown in figure A? Sindhu ma'am? Are you able to hear me? Hello? You can give your response in your chat box, right? You just type A, whether the system is stable, unstable, or critically stable. You just mention. Gopi sir. Gopi sir is here. I'm just calling the names from the participant list. Gopi sir, are you there? Prakash Kumar sir. See, the FDPs and all, it's to get interact with your neighbors. We know many things, right? But still, why we are attending all these FTPs is to interact with people and share your knowledge and improve your knowledge, right? Exploring things only. So if you're selecting to answer, then how your students will respond in your class? Many people type G. What is that G is? What it means actually? See, someone has to respond. Otherwise, that's the main problem in this online mode. You need to respond. You have to interact. And you're not able to unmute yourself, then please type it in the chat box. It's possible, right? Can anyone from the group? Punita ma'am, are you there? Can you mute yourself, unmute yourself? Moderator, session moderator,
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
they are not able to unmute themselves.
Ma'am, they can unmute them. They can unmute.
Then why they are not responding?
We'll ask them to do. Participants,
See, that is the outcome of the session, right? And how I'll to know whether it's been met or not.
we request the participants to take part in the session.
John Rito, sir, are you there? John Rito? John Rito, sir. Hello, are you able to hear me? Can you give answer for A? What type of system it is? Okay. So shall I give the answers or you know your answers, how I have to take this? Okay, at least Tamil sir, are you able to hear me? Tamil sir. Okay, G is stable. G is stable or G is unstable. Uh, okay, of course, Yogeshas, many of you all know it's the same question in Vidyarthi Plus. That's not a problem, but how you're analyzing if the curve is different or in this G state, why it is not, you're able to say whether it's stable or unstable. So that part you need to understand, then only you can clarify to your students, right? There it is directly giving the answers is stable or unstable. But you need to analyze. Many students there on the analytical part only they are failing, right? How the answers is coming in many of your materials which you found in your Google, it is directly the some of the steps will be missing. They'll be giving you direct steps, but we need to know each and every step. Then only as a teacher you can clarify the doubts, right? That is the reason why I've given the same kind of questions, because I thought that hopefully you will be teaching the courses to your students. That's the main agenda of conducting faculty development program, right? You will adopt new strategies how to clarify the concepts without any misconception happening from your student side. That is the ultimate idea why I've taken the simplest part of the picture for the activity, right, sir? So if anyone can, because I may explain in a different way, the other teacher will explain that in a completely different way. So if you know how the teachers are explaining, from that will also will be a kind of learning for all the teachers, and that a sort of opportunity we'll get only through this FTP. It's not possible to go and sit in everyone's class, right? So here is an opportunity. I hope you understand, and please actively participate and present your view. For example, you can use your online whiteboard and you can say, otherwise you can just draw it in a piece of paper and post your picture over here, how we have judged whether the system is stable or not. That sort of explanation will be definitely helpful for other teachers. Hello. Okay. So as you are all not willing to participate, I'll just give you how we are doing your analysis, and you are stating whether your system is stable or not. We can use the same strategy what we did it for case 1 and case 2. So you need to draw a speed line. So at this speed, if the speed is decreases, you need to analyze you need to draw your line, right? So that line will touch upon here, the load torque decreases automatically if you extend. So that particular time your motor torque is also increasing. If the motor torque increase, automatically the system will be accelerates. So when the speed decreases, the motor gets accelerate means, so automatically the system is trying to regain its original position. Similarly, the speed increases. So what happens is, here in this case, if you draw, your load torque is less and your motor torque is again, what will happen again, decreases, right? So if it decreases, automatically it decelerates, so it starts decreasing your speed. So that's how you need to do for each and every case. So here the system A, B, C are stable and D, E, F are unstable, and here you need to know emoji, because for even the speed is increasing or speed is decreasing, you will say the motor torque, it shows a constant torque system, right? So in this case, you can't actually judge whether your low torque is high, motor torque is not varying, even the speed is increasing or decreasing. So you're not able to judge whether your system is stable or not. So most of you are saying that G is stable. Actually, G is not stable, and we cannot say it's unstable also, because some of the data here really it's missing. So we cannot able to judge for this particular this circuit, this G, right? So that is the reason why I've added here. So here, even if the motor speed increases or decreases, this motor, we cannot able to judge or say whether the motor accelerates or decelerates, whether it regains its position or not. Some data is completely missing, so we cannot able to answer for this question G. Okay, that is the actual answer. So we cannot say whether it's a critically stable or unstable or a stable system. That is the answer for G. Whereas we can say for all the rest of the cases, the systems are stable or not. In this case, some data are missing and this data is not clear enough for us to say whether the system is stable or not. That is the correct answer for this question, right? Whereas in the Vidyarthi Plus, it is given it as intermittent thing or a critically stable system, but it's not a critically stable system. We need to analyze. So for doing analysis for such kind of system, we adopt different methods, like whether we are going in for root locus method, or we are going in for mode plot method, or we can go for a Nyquist plot criteria, Nyquist plot, right? So in root locus, as you know, you need to write your characteristics equations and you need to plot your roots in your S-plane, and you need to draw the curve, and you need to find out whether the roots or lie on the S-planes and it is a stable system or not, whether there is a sign change. If there is a sign change in your first column, then we can say the system is not stable, right? So in that way, you can identify whether the system is stable or not. For the Bode plot, you need to draw both, you need to find out your both gain margin and phase margin. Even if your gain margin is more compared to the value which is given, then you can state that your system is stable system. If your phase margin also the same way, it has to be greater. If the value is lesser compared to the referred value or your reference value, then we can say that the system is not a stable system. For the operating point, you will be given some value of phase margin and your gain margin. That is for the designed design parameters, right? So if there is any alteration occurring in your system, you will be you'll be deriving your characteristic equation and you'll be do the analysis. If that phase margin is greater than what your set value, then we can assume state that the system is stable. Similarly, for Nyquist state stability, you need to calculate the n value, where n is nothing but the difference between your poles and zeros. So here also, you need to find out the characteristic equation of your system, and then you need to find out the roots for the characteristic equation. So once you find out the roots, then you will find out your poles and zeros, and the number of poles is p and number of zeros is given by the number z. Then the difference between the number of poles minus z is nothing but n. So when you plot your Nyquist plot, if that Nyquist plot, the circle, the origin is there, right? So if that origin circles n number of times, then we can state that the system is stable. Otherwise, we can state the system is unstable, right? So this is more related to control systems. So it's most likely interdisciplinary, right? We need to know your system dynamics as well as your control system knowledge or your electrical knowledge into it, and to identify the stability of your system. I think I've come to the end of the session. If any doubts from the audience side, I would like to take up, and I will, if possible, I'll address those queries.
Participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and ask the queries, or you can post it in the chat box.
If not, I would like to give you some references. Okay, so here you can see MIT.
We'll wait for a minute, ma'am. If there are no questions, we'll.
Yeah, I'm not winding up. If there is any queries, I can answer. Otherwise, I will share some other thing once again.
Okay.
Okay. So for stability criteria analysis using the phase margin and all, you can see here there are so many animations with questions. The most of the time, is it visible? Is the screen is visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Okay, fine. So most of the time, what happens is the teacher fails to give a correct assessment methodology whenever we use or we ask in the final examination. Most of the questions or may not be discussed in the class. So that is the reason why there are a lot of failures occurs in your final examination. So because all the students have an enormous potential, and if we scrutinize and if we strategically handle them, definitely they'll perform well. So we can give them the practice in the class session itself, the time during that time itself, so that that won't be a burden for them during your examination. So whenever you ask your questions in your final examination, that should match with your learning outcomes, your expected outcomes, that you need to keep it in your mind. So you can practice. There are so many websites available through which you can actually give them the picturized idea how they have solved that problem and all. Instead of going in for just Vidyarthi Plus or something like that, you can use this kind of websites, and it will be definitely helpful for them to how actually the analysis is being made, the clear explanations with the examples or given with the questions. Okay, so they are asking, here's the stability criteria analysis only. Think about the shaft safety margins of an open loop system which you would like to make closed loop. So this is the characteristics of a open loop Bode plot. So if you want to make it as a closed loop and you want to see the stability of a system, so how you need to change your system into closed loop system. This is an example, right? Similarly, you can have Nyquist plot also. There are some examples available. Okay. One second. Okay, here's the clear explanation is given for how to determine your some examples. The solutions and all is there. So try to ask your students to use Scilab, the open education resources. So you can see here the codes are all available. You can directly test it in MATLAB directly, right? So that is available here. Maybe I can show you in MIT website. So you can see here tutorial notes. Okay. So here you have placing poles and zeros. The full MATLAB codes will be available. So as a beginner for your okay. So you can see here the codes available, right? So for the BTech students, they may not be aware of MATLAB. Maybe that is a part of your control system lab or electric drives lab. So you can use this kind of websites for enhancing their knowledge of your students. So here, given examples with the coding, MATLAB coding, it's given in this website. You please refer to your students so that it will be useful for them to initially to incorporate that research attitude in your students. Even you can also try, and you can also pose some tutorials to your students as an open-ended question. So that will be definitely helpful for them to first analyze the actual system how the normal system behaves, then they can design some what, different innovative designs and all they can able to make. Only if they are very familiar about the concepts or very strong in their concepts, they can able to design new things, right? So for that you can practice, you can note down this websites which will be helpful for them to do the stability analysis. Okay. So if any doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, we will quit the session. Any doubts from participant side?
Participants, if you have any queries, you can ask our resource person.
This
I think there
particular
are no
website.
questions. Sir.
Okay, sir. I will just give the link through chat. So if everyone are happy or most of the informations probably you may know it, but still how we are presenting that makes a difference, right? So you can refer to this websites. So here you can see what I've it is screen. You can how you have to design your PI controller, PID controller. That may be somewhat tricky for the teachers to explain in the class. That too, most probably through online. If you want to explain, you can use this kind of resources like simulations and all is there. Spreadsheets, simulations, short tutorials. Okay, so you can just refer to your students so that how they have to convert into mathematical modeling, how they need to analyze it. So everything they can able to utilize for their teaching. Okay. Okay, sir. If there is no query, okay, we can wind up.
Okay, ma'am. I feel we will have one more minute. If we have any queries, we'll.
Sure, sir. You have 7 more minutes. So till 10:45, you can ask any questions or anything if needed. I can clarify, sir.
Okay. So if there are no questions, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Janagi ma'am for this wonderful and informative session. We would always love to have Janagi ma'am again for our sessions. We have, I think this is the third consecutive session we are having Janagi ma'am with us. She has been with us for all the sponsored programs. She's been a wonderful support for Team Triply at KPR IIT. We thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful opportunity for this occasion, and we'll again meet up in one more FDP also, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Okay, there was one query. Shanmugapriya ma'am asked, can we go to root locus method for stability?
Okay.
Okay. Mm. Okay, ma'am. Are you able to see this screen? I hope this is the root locus, right? So here there is an animation. You can change your value and how your plots vary. That also you can see. Okay. And here's a your route array is formed based on your characteristics equation. So this is the exercise problem for you, and you can ask to find out whether your value, all the values are positive. You need to check. So that is basically depends on your Kc value, right? So if you check all your lines are positive, then we can say that the system is stable, or otherwise we can say the system is not stable. Okay, that's how you need to do. So this is your curve. So if you change your K value, so here you can see the code. So just copy the code and run it in MATLAB, and you can see how the variations is. Okay. Please make test easy. Is the test is difficult, sir?
No, no, ma'am. They're asking for the final test. Talking about the final test. It's
Okay, okay.
for the Atal FTP. They have to write a test for in order to get the certificate. So they are talking about that test.
Okay, sir. It's good to know that you are having some final MCQ or any test to verify whether what is their input they have taken or the takeaway from the FTP. That's a good thing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have a session on that. Atal has planned in such a way that they have a session on that.
Yeah, the main idea of going in for all such kind of FTPs is how they are enhancing their skills in teaching and learning. That is the main idea, right? So
Yes,
for
ma'am.
that, I request all the participants to kindly interact. Otherwise, it will be more like a one-way communications. So without you interact, I don't know whether the informations are already known to you or it's not at all clear. So that sort of ambiguity is always there in the speaker's mind, right? So when the teacher starts interacting, so obviously you can also get some. I can also give some more inputs. Otherwise, I will stick to my things, right? So that is the reason why I'll always ask for interactions in the session. Okay, so thank you all. Hopefully Shanmuga Priya ma'am, this site will be definitely helpful for you. Maybe I can share it in chat box. You can go through it, ma'am, and if any doubts, you please contact me. Definitely I'll help you. And thank you all for your patience listening and active participation is missing. I really want to request you all to kindly interact with these speakers so that you will also get more things. Okay, so that the speaker will also speak out more and they can share their experience. Through that experience, you will learn better, right? So it's one way. I also will learn something from you, and you also get something out of my experience. So that's the main idea of asking in for going in for some interactive sessions, right? So thank you all the very best, and thank you for the opportunity for the management as well as Dr. Kumar Chennai sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We are very happy to have you back again now. Thank you, ma'am. We'll close the session now.
Yes, yes, sir.